At the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, a lot of my teaching is one-to-one, both as an Alexander Technique teacher and as a piano teacher. In this talk, I will be looking at the fact that Alexander Technique teachers constantly break the golden rule of one-to-one teaching, which is that touching is discouraged or preferably not allowed at all, especially when dealing with children, but also with adults. I assumed in my Alexander Technique training, it's a 3-year training, by the way, that there would be a lot of discussion on this subject. But in fact, I can only remember one discussion, and it wasn't a long, drawn-out affair. It was very clear and very simple. And it was this. In a one-to-one teaching situation, the person in charge of the lesson is the teacher, and he or she has to be crystal clear about their role and have an attitude of respect towards their pupil. There are many ways of showing respect, but today I'll talk about something that I constantly worked with on my Alexander course and continue to work with every day, which is the business of honouring the space between the pupil and myself. This kind of work lies in the area where no words are exchanged, but there is an unspoken knowledge on both sides of what is going on. Some of our work on the Alexander Technique course was doing something called directed activities, which took some of the ideas and principles behind the technique that we were discussing into a more physical realm. And to demonstrate this, I'm now going to invite Rory to do a directed activity on honouring space. The activity is something which you can think about for yourself to raise your own awareness of space in your own one-to-one teaching. This is a short activity done in silence, without words or chat, just staying with your experience, whatever it is. Find a space where you can both put your arms in front, out to the side and behind you, and face one another. Now experience all of this space as yours and yours alone. Be aware of your energies being as big as all of this space around you. You can look at each other, have eye contact, stay neutral, recognizing each other's own individual space. Now, as a teacher, take a step into your pupil space and just notice what changes for both of you. Now, step back and again notice what changes between you. Now, again keeping eye contact, step into your pupil's space with a different intention. Again, notice the changes between you. Now step back into your own space. This applies whether you're standing or sitting. So let's try it sitting with the guitar. If you have to touch the pupil for any reason, tell him or her your intention in advance and stay aware of the space between you. For instance, if you want to remind your pupil where their head is, this is how you can make sure the space between you is respected or not respected or respected. This little directed activity can show us lots of things. It can show us, most importantly, how to first recognize and be aware of our own space and how we might use it or abuse it. Owning your own space is also useful for you to come back to for your own feeling of safety if you're uncertain, or even if you're certain of what's going on with your pupil in this business of the one-to-one relationship in lessons. So the beautiful simplicity of all of this is that it's up to the teacher to have a certain robustness of attitude, to be clear about their position of power and not to usurp it, to have crystal clear clarity of the different roles of teacher and student, to respect your space and their space equally, to allow them to develop in their own individual ways, and to be in a relationship with them that supports and nourishes their experience in lessons.